And today we have an amazing guest, Leela. She's the founder of ME Kombucha.
To be honest with you, kombucha was given to my mom many, many years ago. I mean, almost 3 decades ago when she had cancer. And the physician who had given it to her had said, if you had fermented foods, the cancer would not have been so aggressive and so fast moving. Your body would have been protected and your immunity would have been better. Kombucha is a fermented food. So it's a fermented tea. Tea goes through fermentation for between 7 to 10 days. This is a kombucha that is like a homemade brew. Kombucha made in a way that is non-pasteurized. It has all the healthy benefits of the good gut bacteria and microorganisms that help grow your immunity. It's all about passion and love of what you put into this product. I have never cut short, never cut corners to make this product. I mean, scaling it up has not been easy because we are still making it in that 8-liter glass jars.
Yeah.
Yet we are feeding the entire UAE market, all the hotels.
Welcome to the Wellness Club Social, Dubai's newest space for real conversations about clean living and modern wellness. I'm Christina, the founder of Soul Crave.
And I'm Biljana, founder of Clean Rebel.
And today we have an amazing guest, Leela. She's the founder of ME Kombucha, and I'm the biggest fan of kombucha. We were talking about it with Biljana. She's not really aware. You're not really into kombucha. You don't know much about kombucha, but I'm an experienced consumer of kombucha. So
Nice.
I absolutely love your brand.
Thank you for having me on this beautiful setting, and we should have some interesting information about kombucha for Biljana.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I really want to know everything. Yeah.
Fantastic.
But tell us about your journey. How did you come to learn about kombucha yourself, and how did it all start for you with ME Kombucha?
To be honest with you, kombucha was given to my mom many, many years ago. I mean, almost 3 decades ago, or even further down that road when she had cancer. And the physician who had given it to her had said, if you had fermented foods, the cancer would not have been so aggressive and so fast moving. Your body would have been protected and your immunity would have been better if you had fermented foods. So this was in the back of my mind all the time. And later on in life, I studied functional medicine. I'm a registered nurse from Canada. I worked with cancer patients and specifically palliative pediatric, which was very heavy and very depressing profession to carry, seeing 1-year-old children being on chemotherapy. And later on, as a visiting nurse, I realized that what we eat is really what makes us. And what I saw people eat and what was being fed to them after chemotherapy, it was so wrong, So kombucha kept popping on my mind. And then I came across what Native Indians of Canada were practicing within their social system. And they were using something else called esiac as well. And that is a fermented food as well. And so that brought more, it was just like a point. It was just pointing out at me that kombucha. And at that time, it was nowhere to be found, even in North America. Fast forward, when I came to Dubai, obviously there was nothing like that here. We had such a small organic food and cafe shop here, and everything was so limited that this was on my mind all the time. So this is the story of how kombucha was brought to life for me, because it's been part of my life since I was a teenager, dealing with my mom's cancer and seeing those facts.
I think for me, because I found out about kombucha the same way. My mom used to make it herself. I showed Biljana the picture of how it all looks, and she's like, oh my God, I would never thought that it looks like that. So for me, I've seen my mom do it. Of course, as a kid, it's not like it's something that you would want to drink if it's not packaged nicely.
Looks like an alien.
Yeah, and it takes time and it's difficult to make and it's a whole process. But she was taking it and she always loved it and she swore by it. But of course, then it's been a long time, and then I started seeing it on shelves and stores and stuff like that. But then again, doing research, I found out, products are different from others. Some is just a marketing thing. They call something kombucha. It's just a flavor and all of that stuff. But can you explain for our listeners, just in a simple term, what is kombucha? Because I feel like it's very different from what people imagine.
Yeah, kombucha is a fermented food. So it's a fermented tea. Tea goes through fermentation for between 7 to 10 days. This is a kombucha that is like a homemade brew. That's the process. But you get commercial kombuchas that are made in one day in the big brewery tanks. And the difference is that exactly. So how I am convinced that kombucha should be made in the original way that your mom was making it, and I'm sure it was in a glass jar, correct?
Yeah,
a
in
large
a glass big,
jars.
like...
Yes, exactly. So what you get in the commercial kombuchas, you get them in the stainless steel brewery tanks, some of them big, some of them are small. So here is my personal experience with this. People who have cancer and go through chemotherapy, they feel the metal in their mouth. Any food that's made in metal, pots even, they feel the metal. So that tells me the food, the acidity of food has an interaction with whatever vessel we make them in. Ever since that experience, most of my own personal foods are made in glass jars and glass pots. So our kombucha, that's the difference between our kombucha and what's out there. So this is one difference. Another thing between the commercial kombuchas that are imported to a market like UAE, they all have to be pasteurized. And the sad thing is, a lot of people still don't know what's the difference between a pasteurized product, non-pasteurized product. When we were growing up, milk was good to drink. But nowadays, everybody is having all these negative thoughts about drinking milk because the milk that we get today is pasteurized. They boil it to a point that there is no good microorganisms anymore. And then we have to add some cultures to it to become kefir, so it becomes a little bit better. Kombucha made in a way that is non-pasteurized, it has all the healthy benefits of the good gut bacteria and microorganisms that help grow your immunity and help you. It has all different kind of basically benefits that comes from the non-pasteurized kombucha. I was having a conversation with somebody who knew very well about kombucha, and then I said, our kombucha is the only kombucha in the market that is non-pasteurized. And he said, oh, is it organic? And I'm like, okay, that's a different category. Pasteurization is a different category. It's like comparing organic and halal certification. Pasteurization happens when they try to kill the good organisms of kombucha for the purpose of import, because if they're importing it and they're obviously it's not a chilled imported, they're not putting it on a chilled vessel to bring it obviously from Australia to Dubai. So if the kombucha is live, the taste changes, it becomes very vinegary, so that they have to kill it before they bring it here. But to bring it on a container abroad a ship to Dubai or to anywhere in the world has to be pasteurized. So there is not a lot of benefits left. So you're just having a beverage.
A taste, basically.
A taste, a flavoring added to kombucha acids. And the worst part of it is that they claim it's zero sugar. Guys, zero sugar kombucha means there is no kombucha. Fermentation process needs sugar.
The bacteria eats
it, right? The bacteria eats the sugar. That's the food for the bacteria. And they take the oxygen of the water and in the bottle and in the air that they breathe. They're just like us. They're live microorganisms. We take oxygen, we give carbon dioxide back. We eat to survive. Sugar of kombucha is food to these microorganisms, and they breathe like us, and so they carbonate the beverage. So a live kombucha is supposed to be mildly carbonated. If you're having a kombucha that is overly carbonated, it's either overly fermented in that bottle or it's carbonated by the carbonation tank. So there is a slight difference between that. Now, having said that, carbonated kombucha is not bad because, as I said, carbonation is part of the natural process of kombucha making. So if you're getting a lot of carbonation in there, it's fine. But the fact is, if you get 0 sugar on a bottle of kombucha and it's still sweet, then there is xylitol, there is other forms of sugar in it that is not part of the process, that is not the natural way. And if it's an imported, please check the labels. There are guidelines for these labels that I feel so missing. The knowledge is missing in the public opinion. And it's the kombucha that is registered by Dubai municipality has a lot of information behind it. By any UAE's authorities registration has a lot of information behind it. It has a barcode, it has a nutritional fact, it has to have the address of the facility that is being made in. So if it doesn't have it, it means it's a home brew. How do you know how it's being handled? Because there is no one checking it out, how it's being made, what is getting into that bottle, what's the process. We go through a lot of different processes and a lot of different audits, and by Dubai municipality, because we are manufacturing ME Kombucha in UAE. So we're responsible for these, and the Dubai municipality is checking everything, and we get audited annually for organic certification, for halal certification. So every audit goes through every single microbiological testing and laboratory testing. So this is very important, what kind of water they're using to make this kombucha. Is it filtered water? Is it purified water? Is it filtered and purified? So these all make a difference in the quality of kombucha that you're drinking.
So interesting. And in many ways, I think that products that are locally made are under stricter guidelines than imported products. This applies to many other things as well, including cosmetics, because I had this experience. But it's amazing because I think ME Kombucha is the first and only Emirati-based and produced kombucha on the market, correct? That's
right, yes. I've been in the market since, it started as an Instagram page in 2016. And then by the end of 2017, early 2018, I was in the farmers market. And I believe there was another brand, not a brand, but a homemade or restaurant-based made kombucha in the market, but maybe they didn't take it further. But I persevered mainly because I was getting a lot of good feedback from the children. The children. So if the children drink,
the fizzy.
Because kombucha is not easy to. I mean, the first time anybody drinks kombucha, it can really throw you off. It has a kick, But ME Kombucha was from the beginning was well taken in by the children, and that gave me a boost. And I remember one of the mothers at the farmer's market bought the kombucha. And a week later, when I was at the farmer's market, she came back and she said the children were coughing for almost 3 weeks nonstop and nothing was soothing it. And after taking your kombucha, the cough has subsided. I don't know if it has anything. I said, it cannot have anything to do with the cough per se itself, but it definitely boosts the immunity. So it has all those beneficial points that, yes, it boosts your immunity and helps you recover from cold. On top of that, it makes your body alkaline. So as an older adult, we all tend to have a lot of acidic foods and the acidic food makes our body acidic enough, and cancer cells grow in the acidic environment, and we all produce cancer cells on a daily basis. So if your body is strong enough, you get rid of it. If it's not as strong enough, it stays in your system, and for any particular reason, it can metastasize and it become an actual cancer. But fermented foods, and not just kombucha, fermented foods make your body strong enough to fight that. Because they make although they're acidic, but just like lemon, they enter your body and they make your body alkaline. Mm-hmm. So that in itself fights the unwanted organisms that are in your body.
You seem to be going back to cancer a lot, starting with your mom. And how is your mom, by the way, now?
No, it was too late.
It was too late. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So this is another reason that this has become such a personal mission for me, because I've seen it with my patients when I was practicing. I've seen it with my mom, and I know it's curable. Mm-hmm. I know we can prevent it with taking the right steps. But if it's too late, what can you do then? This is why it's very important to have an informed household
Yeah.
brings up healthy children, because they're setting up the right path for the child because it takes a special taste bud to take fermented food. It's not easy. Like, I myself talk about this, but it's not easy for me to take sauerkraut easily. It's not part of my culture to take it, But kombucha has been there from the get-go. And kombucha can be and people need to understand that kombucha has different categories. There's a category of kombucha that is very tart. People who are used to having kombucha, like you,
Yeah.
as a child, you've been exposed to it, so you know that if it's a strong, it's a strong.
Yeah.
And the stronger the kombucha is better for you because it has more microorganisms in it, less sugar. But to have this particular formula that the children can have and enjoy,
Yeah.
and would be into their mindset that this is a good replacement of the other colas.
Soda, yeah.
It's something that it pushed me really to go further and venture out, even though we hit COVID and that put a little bit of a strain on the start of my business. But seeing that response was what brought all this to life, basically.
But it's also fun, right? Because people also are really into mocktails here and stuff like that. And Me Kombucha has different colors. And for my baby shower, we had strawberry kombucha. It's all fun. It's just fun for kids. I think it's fun to drink something that looks fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't look. I personally like the original and the ginger one. But then there's so many other options. Of course, kids would probably prefer a pink one or
Apple
a fun
cinnamon.
one or a cinnamon
Green
one.
apple cinnamon.
Yeah. That's that really good one. It actually tastes amazing. So it's just depending on. It's definitely funner for them this way, and the way it looks as well. It's a nice glass bottle. It's not like what my mom did in this huge glass thing. It did not look appealing to me when I was a kid. That's for sure. But it's just a question of that, and I think it's a really good alternative if they start doing it from the beginning.
But I find it very challenging. If your mom made it, I hands up to her, really, to all the people who try to make kombucha at home. Really, I say hands up to them, because it's not an easy process at all. It has several steps, and to take it on that specific time that doesn't have this, has that, it's balanced. It's very difficult, because if you reach there 2 days later than what you should, it becomes vinegary. So you're drinking kind of like vinegar. So, and it becomes flat. So it doesn't have that sparkle anymore. But when you have people who are hands-on and taking care of it on a daily basis, this is when you get the perfect, balance of. But having said that, the challenge of a live kombucha is that if people don't keep it on a chilled environment, then it can become tart. Right? So you can go from my factory to the stores intact the way it tasted, but if from the store to their home, they're not keeping it chilled, believe you me, in the heat of Dubai, a lot of things happens, right?
Yeah, you leave it in the car, it's over.
Yeah.
Well, it's not over. It actually gets better, because, as I said, the more fermented it becomes, the more beneficial it becomes.
Okay.
But you have to have the
It's
taste.
taste.
Yeah, the
Same
taste may not be the same. It would be a lot more tart.
I just have a question about the sugar part. Is there a way, because, for example, I'm very conscious of not eating refined sugar. Is there a way to use other types of sugar, like stevia or sugar substitutes that are healthy, or honey, or anything else that is not white
So the
refined
kombucha
sugar?
that is made with honey is a completely different topic, because it's called June. It's a June kombucha. No, the June kombucha, because honey has antimicrobial remedies, it kills some, so it's a different process altogether. Now, having said that, depend on what kind of, I beg to differ here, because stevia, xylitol, fructose of the fruit, they're all sugar. In fact, fructose is even harder for our body to metabolize, especially for women at a certain age, because it's a complex sugar. It's not a simple sugar. So this is a misconception, I would feel, of the market. And I really don't like to see that parents limit their children when it comes to sugar, because it actually helps the nervous system growth of the very young children. So you cannot deprive children of sugar. Of course, we're not talking about refined
Processed
sugar.
foods and stuff.
So in our kombucha, we don't use refined sugar. We use raw, cane, brown, untouched sugar.
That's what
from
I
a
wanted to
very
get at.
specific source. And I do not change the source no matter how difficult it becomes, how expensive it becomes, because then it would change the nutritional value of my kombucha. Having said that, kombucha going through fermentation, right? 7 days, that sugar turns into carbohydrate throughout the fermentation process. It's a very interesting beverage because it creates chromium. During the fermentation process, tea and this kombucha culture and these organisms, whatever they do, they produce chromium, natural chromium source in there. I don't know if you know what chromium is.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. Very good. So it's...
But please explain.
Please explain because people that...
Okay, chromium is a natural substance that helps our pancreas to produce more insulin. Okay, so it's some people call it anti-aging because as you grow older, these productions become less and we become insulin resistant. So chromium actually helps helps that process of breaking down sugar in our body. Having had chromium in our food, especially while we're having food, it balances. Mm-hmm. It balances
sugar.
The production of insulin by our organs, right? So that's one thing. And then chromium, so these things come naturally in kombucha. Sugar, as you mentioned, mostly turns into carbohydrate. So the content of sugar is counted as the carb. And our kombucha has one of the lowest in the market because to start with, we don't put too much sugar for the fermentation, but also it has like the original flavor has only 6 calories. Less than a gram of carbohydrate is in that bottle.
Wow.
And that sugar is made from that carbohydrate, right? So it's that. Now, the difference between our product and other products, I can easily say worldwide the difference is every single of our kombucha bottles have cardamom and cinnamon. Cardamom counterbalances the thein that's left after fermentation. And so parents don't want their children to have caffeine and thein because it makes them agitated. Yeah. So cardamom counterbalances that. And every single bottle has cinnamon, which counterbalances the sugar that's left after fermentation.
Interesting.
Now we have date product and we have apple cinnamon. They have sugar of the date and it has sugar of the apple, and both are organic, wild. In those products, we really injected heavily with cinnamon, and you can feel the taste of cinnamon in those. With our other bottles, in original ginger, you don't feel it. But with those, we really injected high with the cinnamon tea that we make in-house. And so that way, it counterbalances the sugar of the date and the sugar of apple, right? And we also have a cinnamon bottle with the actual cinnamon bark in a bottle that's, it's our original flavor, but again, injected heavily with cinnamon. And that I would strongly advise for people who have diabetes. Now, when I talk about the health benefit of kombucha, people just naturally think that I had one meeting this morning that they asked me 3 times, what time is good to have this? Who is it good for? And I'm like, it's good for everybody. It doesn't have an age, really. What is your demographic? The kombucha doesn't have a demographic. And if you have a soft drink, it's a soft drink. It's a category of a soft drink that is actually tastes soft. So anybody can drink it at any time of the day. They can have it with meal, they can have it before meal, but of course, a little bit of kombucha before meal activates the digestive enzyme, so it helps you digest the food better. But when you have it with meal, it really gives you a balanced beverage to have with your meal because of the chromium, because it makes your body alkaline. So it has all this goodness in it. That's why my mind was there all the time to bring something with this whole package to Dubai, not just, any kombucha.
Mm-hmm.
It's very exciting that, we have access to something that's done for us, than to have a clean product. We don't have to do what my mom did, because it is really long and difficult. So it makes it so much easier. The same thing, we had a conversation last episode about broths. It's a long process as well.
Huge.
Exhausting, smells not very good on your kitchen. Like, it's all of these things, and it's really nice that you can, get it locally and have access to them. And of course, the added benefit of maybe my daughter will drink it. I'll really try.
Have you tried?
No, I mean, she's too young now, but it's just that. Also, with fermented foods generally, because I used to be so skeptical. Not by the time I started drinking kombucha, but with kimchi, for example. I would eat it and I would get so bloated from it. And then I was like, okay, I must be doing something wrong. And then I learned that if you're not used to fermented foods, you need to ease yourself into it, right? Like,
Absolutely.
What's the best way to start taking? Because you cannot drink 5 kombuchas a night.
No, absolutely
You know
not.
what I mean? You
Yes.
need to...
Yeah, if you're not used to it, I would say start a small amount, perhaps a 250 ml bottle in a day. But then, as you said, ease it up. Yeah, but you can drink literally up to 1 liter of kombucha when you're used to it. But the bloating can, for some people, for older adults, can also be a sign of other things, that they shouldn't have fermented food for some time. Mm-hmm. So you need to, as you said, you need to ease it off, but you also need, if the bloating situation is really too much, then there might be SIBO, for example, or candida infestation. So you need to clear that before you take the fermented
There's
foods.
also a process of detox that happens often. For example, It wasn't with kombucha, but I started drinking a very adult green juice with a lot of vegetables and stuff. So for the first few weeks, I was so bloated, like my stomach was and then slowly it got better, and now I can't live without it. So it takes some time to detox.
Exactly.
But I have to be honest, I was skeptical, or I'm still skeptical about fermented foods in general, because I have a theory that we're supposed to be on the human diet, which means that the only things that are natural, for people to eat are the ones we were eating when we were like cavemen and cave women. Okay. So whatever is kind of outside of that, I feel like, are we actually really supposed to be eating that? So with fermented foods, for me, it's like, is this really natural? So if you could explain, like, what's the history of kombucha? How long has it been around?
But I think I disagree with you on that, because even at that point they were fermenting some foods because they did not have fridges, right? Yeah. So they were packing the meat in certain vessels and they were fermenting it under the earth, right? Yeah. I don't know if you've seen those videos, that how they actually curate
and they smoke stuff and they do it. It's still fermentation, right?
That is fermentation. Mm-mm. And not everybody smoked them, like back in, Ice Age and all that. They were still doing that, and they were keeping things under the ground, and that would go through fermentation. I think fermentation has been there with us all along, because they're microorganisms, they're live microorganisms just like us. People ask me, what is this thing on top of the bottles and jars? The SCOBY, which is a symbiotic culture of yeast and bacteria. That is the short form for SCOBY, we call it. But it's a very interesting process, because those microorganisms, I don't know how they do this, but it creates it's a cellulose, like exactly like a paper, the material of paper. So they form this to protect the drink.
Oh, that's
very interesting.
It's
Very
really an
interesting.
organism.
Yeah,
It's
so
live.
they're alive and they're making things there, right?
They're doing their thing.
They're doing their thing. So I'm sure it has been there with us.
Yeah.
I mean, was it chicken was first or the egg was first, you know?
Yeah. But also I feel like it's a very, we don't really know what things were around because you know, the
Yeah.
knowledge we have now is still limited. And I think also we evolve, especially what we eat. Like the next generation, whether we want it or not, you know, what we eat is not the same what even
Our
our
grandparents
parents or
were.
grandparents were eating. It's very
Absolutely.
different. And my daughter, for example, she will grow up, she would never know what the fresh milk is like. I still, you know, would visit my grandma because she's literally from a village, and I would drink milk from a cow. My daughter will never, well, maybe, but it's like very low chance that she'll
Yeah.
ever taste that, even though that's the way it's supposed to be. But I'm pretty sure human body is so smart. And you know, you adapt, I think, as a human being, you have to, in the way we take in so many chemicals on a daily basis and all of that. I think you still adapt to a certain level of whatever is happening to you on a daily basis. It's
Exactly like what you said at the beginning about being bloated when you had fermented foods.
Yeah.
But after a while, your body got used to it.
Yeah.
And you're not, and exactly what you said about the green juice. So we get used to it. Our body evolves around these things, but isn't it better to have something that's beneficial than something? And I think it's a very regionally based, diets are very regionally based adaptation as well. I
Yeah.
mean, in Canada, they may use other kind of form of oils. I mean, when I came to Dubai, I don't think the oil that's in there that is commercially used right now was used. I mean, literally, I see bottles of, they're saying vegetable oils
Oh,
on the
gosh.
bottle. You turn it around and it's got palm oil.
It's
Yeah.
the worst.
You know?
Yeah, that's
So
unfortunately
it's very regionally based as well, what we eat and what we drink. So we might as well find the good sources. Thanks to Salt Crave, you've come up, honestly, I appreciate what you're doing. You're doing all the research on behalf of the public, and you're putting something out there that is worthwhile. And, you know, it's good for the public, for children to grow up with.
Yeah, I think it's very important for, and a lot of, well, from my experience, what I see, and I of course talk to a lot of people who own brands and stuff, and their journeys normally, especially if it's like in cleaning product sort of area, which is also very important for your microbiome, for everything. It starts with like kids, because they become aware of what they
Absolutely.
put in their house. Because when
Exactly.
you're, you know, just living your life alone, you don't really care what your floor is clean. Well, normally. But when you have family members or you live with an elderly person that you take care of and all of that stuff, you become aware of not just what you put into your body, but what's around you, what shampoo you use, what cosmetics you use. And it's funny because Biljana has, you know, a clean skincare brand. And it's really funny because people usually start using it when they're like get pregnant or
Yeah.
they have some sort of, you know, health thing. And it's actually should be there from the start.
Absolutely.
Like you should be thinking, oh, okay, I'm pregnant now, I'm putting clean stuff. But what about when you're not pregnant? Why are you putting garbage on your skin, you know, when you're not
Exactly.
pregnant?
Exactly.
And it's a funny thing that people have to be forced by circumstances
Nations,
to
yeah,
become
absolutely.
healthier.
Yeah.
So I think if you're raised in a household that has, you know, that's a given, I think that would be really good. And that's why UAE is great in that sense, because there's so many people from all parts of the world that bring their heritage, or maybe it wasn't like exactly your heritage to begin with, but it's something that you went through for so long and you
Exactly.
brought it here, because it's in the end of the day, there is a lot of opportunity here. So it's really good that we have all these people coming and building these businesses.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because, for example, when I go back home or I spend time in London, when my husband is from, I can't find stuff like that, even though they're a bit more advanced in a
Really?
certain sense. I cannot, like, it's not an easy thing that they can deliver it. You know, you can
the
deliver me
delivery has-
kombucha in 2
yeah.
hours. It will be in my house.
True.
It's true.
You know, I have to really search, go to like a farmer's shop, which the price is going to be very different. It's a crazy price if you want an organic product, a clean product. You can find it 100%, but it's
It's not as easily accessible as it is.
and it's not as fast, and there's a lot of difficulty. And then when you go through this process for every, you know, it's not just kombucha, you have to shop for everything. And if you have to go to different sources and you have to drive there, there's no delivery, it just becomes exhausting. Here we're lucky to
Here
have
with
it.
Amazon now,
Yeah.
15 minutes. Wait for it. Me Kombucha is coming on Amazon now.
Right. I can't wait. No, that's great. I really want to know more. You mentioned a few benefits of kombucha, like the anti-inflammatory, maybe gut health, alkaline. Can you give us like a list of
That
the
list.
benefits?
Yes. It boosts your metabolism for a couple of reasons, because it's a vegan source of vitamin B12, B3, B5, B6.
Which doesn't exist anywhere, as you had mentioned.
The vegan, yeah. So it does, as you said, it washes your system because of its acidic nature. It washes your blood circulation, and so it detoxifies your liver as well. What else? What else I can say? You know, the chromium, so it balances insulin while you're having food. And it has a lot of antioxidants because the base is tea. And we all know antioxidants are curbing a lot of issues in our body, especially fighting cancers, cleaning free radicals, right? And so it's loaded also with vitamin C. I think I had a comparison on our social media page with milk. It has a lot more benefits than what raw milk offers, not the pasteurized milk, right? So it does have even vitamin C.
And it contributes to your gut health.
It does.
Which I believe indirectly even would contribute to your skin health.
Absolutely.
Can kombucha make you more beautiful?
Liliana wants to know that.
That's my favorite topic.
Nowadays, everything is about gut health.
It is.
Even your brain, your emotional status is all being managed by your gut health. So this is probably a recent finding of the medical system that, you know, everything is related to gut health. So definitely, I mean, anything that boosts your circulation and cleanses your circulation level, it helps your skin. It definitely does. Yeah.
But I mean, it is incredible, right? That people just realize that microbiome is important, because our body is alive in the end of the day. It's really crazy how people just made that. But it is great that the connection is made, and now there is more products which are, you know,
That are feeding your microbiome.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get there one day when you can do one test and you know like what to do exactly and how to balance it in with what. What do you think for the region generally? Because of course it's really fast growing and there's like more businesses opening up, and really, really great businesses, and which produce really high quality products. Where is the future? Is it more like technology sort of related, or it's more going back to the bases, like kombucha has been around for, you know, centuries and stuff? What's in your opinion where's the UAE is heading towards?
I think from what I see, we're going to get the best of both worlds here.
Yeah.
Because I can see like the summits of biohacking, yet we can see crypto summits, and, you know, everything, all the good stuff have a specific event for it here, and it's a big event that brings knowledge to people. And of course, knowledge is taken by those who are seeking it, right? So it's very interesting that I think COVID brought up a lot of it just brought a lot of things out into the surface, and people realize how important our health is.
Absolutely.
You know? And I think all these biohacking and gut health became more apparent after COVID. Because I was doing kombucha before then, right?
Yeah.
But I wasn't feeling like it could turn into something. You know,
Yeah.
it was always, it's a very unknown niche product. But after COVID, it became more apparent that people needed to take care of their immunity because it was all about immunity. Those of us who had good immunity were not taken by COVID. Those of us who had autoimmune or even somehow protected or not, so people became more cautious and aware of what these good gut bacteria and our microbiomes offer us. And they've started to feed it. Even we are seeing that different surge on Instagram. It's more about education, right? It's more about what we can do to become healthier. So I feel like we're going to have the best of both worlds here in UAE.
Yeah, this is really good.
Is this your bigger mission with Me Kombucha, to educate people on their health, on prevention?
Yeah, it was never about a business when I started. In fact, I carried the kombucha bottle with me from countries to countries, and I was making my own kombucha. And then the difference, I think, between Me Kombucha and probably other brands that will come to the market, nothing was imported. For the base of the business, it's all grown in UAE. All the scobies, everything has been grown in UAE. So it was for me to start, it was actually that. It was never meant to be a business to the scale that it is right now. We have expanded 3 times in a matter of 4 years, thanks God. But it's more about public health, public education, because that's my background. That's my background. That's my education background. I've worked with cancer patients. When you work with cancer patients and you work with people who are dying, you have a different perspective of life. It's just not everything is about having a private jet anymore, right? It's not about that at all. It becomes more into community service. And if the rest comes with it, fine. Right? It's all about passion and love of what you put into this product. I have never cut corners to make this product. Scaling it up has not been easy because we are still making it in that 8-liter glass jars.
Yeah.
Yet we are feeding the entire UAE market, all the hotels. We're in almost all the supermarkets, Spinneys, White Rose, Union Co-op, Kipson, Amazon Prime, Organic Food and Cafe. These are not small entities. Recently, we've gone into, we were taken by Cravia, which is the Cinnabon. I never thought people in Cinnabon would buy kombucha. That's
they can balance the rest of what they're eating at least a little bit.
Exactly, which is very interesting. And I remember way back, I one of the very healthy online food sources, which I'm not gonna say, I talked to the owner 3 years back and said, I don't think it's a good match. My staff didn't think. And this year, suddenly, they've taken on the product and they're ordering nonstop, right? So it is a revolving market. I can see it's revolving and it's evolving as well, So yeah, it's...
But also, I think why it's also, gut health is important. We hear about it all the time. But also the amount of antibiotics people take, it's still there, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like now people are becoming aware, maybe like if I'm compensating with this or that, because it is all about it. Because our gut health didn't just become bad because of whatever. Yeah. That happened because we're cautiously like taking antibiotics.
When we were growing up, they were giving antibiotics right and left.
Yeah, for
and
cold.
No probiotic.
Yeah.
There was no words about probiotic or prebiotic or postbiotic. These were just words that were not out there. Nowadays, in more developed countries, when they give antibiotics, they give probiotics.
Which the doctor told me actually is not very... It's useful because when you have to take it after. Yeah, they
after
still give it at the same time.
At the same time.
Not at the same time. No. It has to. Otherwise, the antibiotic kills the probiotic.
Exactly.
So it has to be that when that is finished, then you can start boosting your body with that. But having said that, what you lose, it would never be coming back. Your gut flora, the ones that you lose, you really have to be careful what you put back. I would say kombucha is one source. Good kefir is another source. another one is we don't have here. We have a grain kefir in UAE market, but probably a kefir that is really
The good stuff.
The good stuff is not here yet. But you must have pomegranate.
Yeah.
You know, that's another source of a very good probiotic.
Helps with acidity as well.
Acidity and acromencia is there. So
Also, grandma's recipe for acidity, like if you have a food poisoning, your grandma would always give you a pomegranate to like
wash
help.
it off. It washes it off. Yeah, so there's a lot of other things that you have to do. It's not just one product. Sauerkraut. They all offer different microbiomes feeding and microorganisms. So each one of them has a different strand.
Yeah. Congratulations on expanding to so many different outlets in a short period of 4 years in a quite small market. The UAE market is amazing. It has a lot of opportunity, but it's a small market. So, I mean, I really salute you for educating the public from not knowing or having this as part of their day to now having, you know, companies like Cinnabon, carrying your product.
They made us proud.
Yeah. And that's a really big achievement. Yeah.
So mainstream. It's amazing. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What's next for you? What's next for Me Kombucha or for any business that you're thinking of doing in the future?
I'm just going to focus on Me Kombucha.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed or not. I don't even have online optimizations. The product has been so kind and so good, and the market has been so kind to us that it has moved by itself. So I'm going to focus on that. I'm not going to add anything to it. Maybe two other flavors, but I left them for the last because there are flavors that are not very known to the market. I don't know if any of you know what quince apple is. The Lebanese people and Iranians and a lot of locals know what quince is. But quince apple is a very interesting, it has a very interesting flavor. So that I have left for the last, and also chia kombucha is coming as well.
Oh, wow.
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very exciting.
It is.
Maybe, so I'm announcing it here. So if you see it in any other brand, they've stolen the idea.
I don't think they can get it there that fast. Well, definitely not in that quality, so it's fine. We're definitely safe here.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna focus on just Me Kombucha.
And are you going to expand beyond the UAE? Are you going to bless other GCC countries or other countries with your products?
Yes, actually, we are in talk with Saudi Arabia. People have approached me to have a facility there. They wanted to export it there, but I said I'd rather if it's locally made. I mean, the distance is not so long, but I prefer it to be locally made. And we've had talks with France and Belgium. Like, people have approached us if you would give us the brand for those regions. So yeah, we're in talks.
Fantastic. I love to see UAE brands expanding globally.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
It's very exciting. I mean, I was in Italy in summer in a very remote village, and I walked into an ice cream shop, and it was like Dubai chocolate. I mean, the flavor of the ice cream was Dubai chocolate. I'm like, fantastic.
Very interesting.
home.
Yeah.
It happens more and more. It makes us proud.
It's so good to see that happening. Yeah. So I'm hoping that would be the next step with Me Kombucha. After all, it's Middle East loves kombucha. That's the brand.
No
so
doubt.
Me is not just all about me. It's Middle East loves kombucha. So hopefully it gets there.
Yeah, that would be really nice.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so
for
much
having me.
For
Thank
educating
you.
us, because that was really interesting, and there's so many details that I didn't know, and I'm an experienced user. Very proud of that. Kombucha. But yeah, I'm sure for Biljana it was all new, but it's extremely interesting, and I think everyone should drink it. Just, order yourself a kombucha. It's everywhere.
Have any questions? From time to time, I do check the Instagram page personally. Over the weekends, when I have some time to breathe, I check what the staff are doing there and answer some of the questions. So our numbers is all over Google Map, and anybody who has any questions, we're here to answer.
I love that. And you can find Me Kombucha, as we mentioned, anywhere on all the platforms, as well as on your website, mekombucha.com.
Yes.
On Instagram at
On Instagram, me_kombucha, but you would see me love kombucha with a red heart. Yes, we're in all the platforms that I mentioned, and a lot of the hotels and cafes around the city.
Amazing. I'm definitely going to be a new kombucha, and I'm going to test that out with all of our amazing guests. It's funny because, functional mushrooms, a lot of things I hadn't really tried, and then I'm just convinced, and kombucha is one of them. So
fantastic. Give it a shot.
Thank you for educating us.
Thank you for having me.
And this has been the Wellness Club Social episode 6. Please subscribe, share, and DM us with any questions you have or any guests that you would like to see on future episodes.
See you.